Hey, it's Bill, and you're tuned into the Pennsylvania Rock Show, featuring the best unsigned rock and metal that Pennsylvania has to offer, right here on PARockshow.com, Mega Rock Radio, and 107.1 KFGD FM St. Louis, Missouri for both of those. RooRooRadio.com on the beaches of San Diego, California. XRPRadio.co.uk from the Highlands of Scotland. OdiesXL.com, featuring us Monday morning, very, very early in Philadelphia. And on buildascene.com/radio. This is the Pennsylvania Rock Show, episode number 637, our first episode after we turned 18. With me tonight is Action Camp.
Hello.
Hello.
So last Wednesday, was the 18th anniversary of the show, 18th year of the show.
Congrats.
So I've been at this for a while. 4 years longer than my son's been alive.
Yeah.
6 years longer than my daughter's.
We appreciate and understand we're 16.
We're 16.
Yeah, we're 16 now. So
16 and a half. Comes
Oh.
fast. February. So
driving age.
Yep.
Anyway.
I don't know who Cat M is, but she's giving you guys hearts.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're going to start off with the cliche normal radio type questions, and then we're going to dive into the Bill ask questions that are hard to ask questions or hard to answer questions.
Sure.
So where did the name Action Camp come from?
Help me feel it.
You can start. Yep.
The band started with me and Maura in Boston in 2006. And at the time, both of us were more her than me, but were very involved in a lot of causes, mostly environmental, etc. And so an Action Camp is a skill share of basically you get together and like learn how to throw up wheat paste posters, or it's just sharing information, sharing the
Or
skills
fix a
of like,
bike.
how to fix a bike, but also just how to organize a protest, etc. All that kind of stuff. The alternate name for the band at the time, I think, was Great Big Secret. And so it was a 50-50, and we just went with Action Camp.
Yes, as all like all great band names, it was a placeholder that
Yeah.
then became the name. So
Yeah. Could have been worse. We could have ended up with Smashing Pumpkins or something. We have old friends of ours that have a still active band called Fetish Chicken, because they named themselves when they were like 14. Yeah. But really great band. You should check them out.
And Action Camp, a really useful anagram of side project that we also have is Catnip Coma.
Catnip Coma is an anagram for Action Camp.
So
Unintentional.
look
but-
out for those records
Yeah.
someday.
Yeah. Just on the fact that it's an anagram of Action Camp.
And we all love cats.
And
We
we-
all own
Yeah.
we
cats.
are all cat people. It's true.
I'm gonna the scene in Harry Potter where the words that,
Yeah.
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 Sure.
I am Voldemort.
Yeah.
Anyway, for the record, for anyone who doesn't know, I do teach middle school and elementary school, so I'm allowed to know that stuff.
Nice.
That's the only reason.
Sure.
I have kids that age. Does that work?
I think that one works. Let's stick with that.
I read the books when I was in my 20s. I'm not in my 20s. See, I like Kat. She says anyone's allowed to know. So you mentioned when you were in Boston. So like, how did you go from Boston to Pittsburgh? How did that happen?
Well, I'm from the Boston area originally. Maura is from Pittsburgh, and she came out for school, and we worked in a coffee shop together called
Espresso
Royale. I can't believe I forgot it. It's been so long. Just to, like both going to BU, or I went to the Art Institute there, and then
You
started.
were illegally living in the dorms
Yeah,
in
yeah,
BU.
yeah.
So that worked out.
Sometimes it helps to have a girlfriend that goes to a more expensive college.
There you go.
Yeah, we started there. Our first couple of years were there, and then we both graduated college, and we're touring a lot, and it's very expensive to live in Boston, and so we moved out to Pittsburgh, and so now I've been out here for 11, 12 years, something like that, and it's very cheap to live here. And then we met Joe through a couple different bands. Like we knew Joe for like a decade before he joined the band.
That is all true
Yeah,
Can confirm.
yeah,
and confirmed.
Sorry. Nobody can see what I'm looking at. Anyway, that'll get edited out.
yeah. It's fine.
My son walked into the room and walked right up to me and didn't do anything.
Beginning of COVID, when everyone was on Zoom calls and no one knew how to handle them.
Yeah.
So anyway, continue.
You should try teaching during that.
Yeah. My spouse teaches. I feel for you.
My a group of my students, anytime I bring up that time of like something that I taught then, they're like, yeah, we can see your bread. Okay, but do you remember what I was teaching?
That's funny.
Anyway, why don't you guys tell, like, I know you've done the naming each other already, but why don't you tell us what part you play in the band?
Joe.
Yeah, my name is Joe Tarowski. I play the drums and occasional backing vocals.
I'm Maura Jacob, and I play bass, and I am the lead vocals for Action Camp.
My name is Bengt Alexander, and I play baritone guitar and do some of the samples and also some vocals behind her.
All right, enough of those type of questions.
Sure.
Got a new one for you. So you wouldn't have heard it in the episodes you listened to.
All right.
Okay. So you can take 4 people to dinner. Any 4 in the history of the world. They don't have to be musicians, but I'm sure you'll probably pick at least one. Who are you sitting down with for dinner?
Oh, jeez.
As a band or individually?
Individually.
Okay.
Oh wait, we each pick 4 people?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my lord.
I can
Oh.
go first. Weird Al. The Sparks Brothers. And I don't know, Charlie Chaplin. That'd be a fun mix. Get the two other guys that have the Hitler mustache, but not Hitler.
Pause.
That's
Pause.
your
Pause.
criteria.
Yeah.
Pause for a second. So somebody called Mark Madden yesterday on the X during his Ask Mark Anything question segment. And that was the question they asked.
Yeah.
And he said, this is tough because I definitely want my mom. He goes, but I don't want my mom to be there while Hitler's there.
Oh my gosh.
And you brought up Hitler mustaches on the first time I ever asked a question.
Well, it's the Ron. I don't know if you know the band Sparks.
I do not.
We hold them in very high regard. There's a documentary about them now called The Sparks Brothers that you should check out. But the one brother, Ron, for a very long time in their career had the Charlie Chaplin mustache, and they're just brilliant. As is Weird Al, because Weird Al has also had the best answer to this kind of this question. He goes, if you could have dinner with someone alive or dead. He said, "Oh, definitely alive."
Oh, I mean,
so that kind of whimsy. That's. And I also just hold him in very high regard. Like it seems like good dinner conversation.
Hey, anybody else want to cover that one?
I'll say John Lennon, my 2 grandmothers, and the guy who punched Richard Spencer.
It's a good balance.
Yeah. That'd be a
there.
great conversation.
I don't know if I have ready answers, in part because I'm of this, mind of like, don't meet your heroes,
Yeah.
So everything I keep coming up with, I'm like, but what if they're terrible?
That's the thing. A lot of people I like and hold in high regard. I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to hang out with them. Like, I don't think I like them on a personal level.
Just one meal, just one date.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't. I'm sorry, I don't have anything for you.
Do you remember when MTV like years ago ran a contest? It was like have dinner with Michael Jackson on the set of Remember the Time music video. And it was like a whole thing. I remember that when I was a kid, and I'm like, that sounds interesting. But even then, I was like, yeah, but that dude's real weird. Like, I don't know. I don't want a bunch of other people to be there, but I also don't think I want to be there, like talking to him for a couple hours. It seems like a lot.
Yeah.
It's a weird prize to offer.
Especially looking back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, was there an age cutoff for that contest?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It was also on the set of the video, which is a weird thing too.
You guys are familiar with I just completely blanked on his first name. Robert Johnston.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you were in a similar situation, you're at the crossroads waiting for the devil or demon, depending on who you talk to show up so that you can sell your soul. What is worth selling your soul for musically? And if you don't like the way that question is asked, what's a goal you haven't met yet?
I don't know. That's
I feel like we're constantly striving for new goals, so like we'd have to make many visits. But
Yeah.
see if he'd take us up on, okay, you got my soul last time. What else can I give
And
you?
what else? I was raised to punk rock to know to sell any part of yourself to get something you want.
Also true.
Yeah.
Also true.
I'd like call the devil, and when he'd show up and be just like totally blank him, ghost him, sucker.
He couldn't afford me.
He couldn't afford me.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Or just like real hard negotiate and just like run it until he just gets frustrated and leaves, and that'll be. Yeah.
Can you guys
the right slice of cheese?
We're very. But as far as band goals go, we're very reasonable people. We're very realistic about what we want, and I think we're generally a working class band, and I think all we really want to do is we're going to make records whether people buy them or not, but it would be nice to basically get to the point that we can all just do this and not have other jobs. That's it. I don't think we want to be famous. We don't want to be super rich. We just don't want to do anything else.
I would like to keep creating art. Yes.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Well, we can do that with or without the devil.
I'd like a van or something that could transport everything in one trip to where we play.
There we
I
go.
think,
Split
that's
it up.
I think you just mean roadies.
No, I don't
It's
need
not right.
roadies. We just I can still lift my drum kit, but if we could put everything in one vehicle and then we can all sit in it without like sitting in a cave of drums, if we spin out, somebody's dead.
Yeah.
I don't want that. So
You think we need the devil for that?
no, we just need I just need to find a great
Today's
deal on
car
a car.
prices.
Just need a sugar daddy, and then we will be good to go. That is what Is that what I asked the devil for?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I asked the devil
Aim higher.
for.
Just the devil should be your sugar daddy.
There we go. See,
He's
yeah,
got to have some money, right?
I think he just makes
He
money.
just makes
so
If we wanted to press vinyl, that's who we should have talked to.
Yeah.
Wrong.
that's true. The current situation.
Yeah, that's how everybody else is doing it. They're talking to the devil. That's how they get vinyl pressing.
Yeah. Ask the devil to give me the deed to Jack White's studio.
That's no deal at all.
Or to put my record in front of Adele's
Yeah.
in the press, please.
Adele 666. Yes.
Anyway.
So you're leaving a show, and as you're packing up your van,
Yes, beautiful van.
you come across a DeLorean sitting with its door hanging open and a flux capacitor in the back seat. So you can borrow it and bring it back without anybody knowing that you borrowed it. And you can go anywhere in time. Where are you going in time, and what band are you going to hang out with while you're there?
This seems like this is made for Joe.
Yeah, Joe's the nostalgic one of the three of us.
Yeah.
Or music
I think-
historian, or
You know what? I think I go pick up the Clash in like '79, right around London Calling. Then we go back and beat the snot out of Hitler. Since you mentioned him earlier, I just I want to be clear on this.
just gotta close that.
Oh,
Close
I
that
really want to
loop.
make that clear. Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I guess if you want to,
No one was saying that they were excited about what Hitler did.
No.
Just to be clear.
No, but or like get Black Flag with Henry Rollins and just pick up a few of those classic punk bands that really knew how to throw down. I may even bring Danzig into it. I don't like Danzig and the Misfits, but to see him throw down 1945,
Yeah, but there's that one video where that dude hit him pretty
Okay,
hard.
forget Danzig.
Danzig seems like a pushover.
No, and I don't know. Yeah, I guess that would be it. If I go back in time and just beat the I'm watching my language. Beat the snot out of Hitler with the Clash and Black Flag. That sounds like a good deal to me.
There's a pretty insane. It's on YouTube, but there's a Nitzareb show from like 1981 or something like that at the Techno Club in London. That looks so brutal and such an assault on the senses. Where there's like 300 people in the room, everybody is smoking. And there's just a constant strobe from the stage with Nitzareb, which if you've ever listened to them, it's just very aggressive, kind of industrial kind of stuff. That seems like that would be a fun room to be in briefly, just to see, before people cared about like their health or like just their well-being in general. Or take the DeLorean back and to like John DeLorean himself and just blow his mind.
Look what they did to your
Save him
car.
from that whole like Coke bus thing. It's like, hey man, you got a thing here. This could be a successful company. Don't blow it on
This
this.
will be your ticket.
Just blow it on this drug thing.
Come with us to 2022
Look, I brought
when weed's legal and
Yeah.
you can make a ton. Come back with us. We'll show you. I hope my boss doesn't hear me say that.
There are lots of good options here. The only thing that's coming to mind right now is, so I'm currently pregnant, and this little person really seems to enjoy Buddy Holly. So maybe to go and do that actually in person would be fun. I'm already keeping a list of all the shows that he has been snuck into so far. So that would be another very classic one to add to the list. So
I'm going to throw Kat's answer out. She said, for those of you in the video, you see it, but those of you listening to the radio show or podcast, you have to hear it. She said August 13th, 1972, go to the Festival of Hope with Looking Glass, Sha-na-na. I cannot say it. I've never been able to say that. Sha-na-na. Lighthouse and Billy Preston.
Nice. You wouldn't go back and like tell Buddy Holly not to get on the plane.
Exactly.
I don't know what the
Big Bopper,
rules
hey,
are
hey,
here.
man.
I know
stretch out.
that's like, I think that's going to break the time.
I'm very I enjoy time travel pop culture and the rules vary quite starkly depending on
which movie you're watching.
Yeah, so I don't know.
The Crickets become like the Rolling Stones. They're doing stadium tours playing.
They're very tight. They are a very tight band. So it's always possible.
All right. So next I'm going to ask you the official Build a Scene question before I forget. Sure. Who is your Dave Grohl? In other words, what band do you want to go up on stage with and perform one of their originals?
Perform one of theirs. Well, we've done a lot of
Yeah.
this.
So we
Not with the band.
so for a long time, and it'll probably start again next year. I used to organize a thing called Tribute Fest, where we play in character as a band, and often match up with other like local bands. It's actually how Joe ended up in this band, because we did a Queen set, and we subjected him to 6 months of Queen rehearsals, and at the end we were just like, "Hey, you can hang," and now you're in our band, and that's. But of the ones we did Electric Light Orchestra. It would be really fun to play on stage with Jeff Lynne. But that'd be more modern day, because like old 70s ELO is pretty spotty. Actually, I take that back. ABBA. I would absolutely do anything with ABBA. I'm Swedish, so anything ABBA, any era.
Well, they're doing like holograms.
I'll go play with the
now, right?
holograms. That's fine.
Yeah.
If I can go be in that band that backs up the holograms right now, I go do that.
I'll support Ben's dream.
Yeah.
I'd go play with the Who. I would cover bass or drums for them happily. Sure.
Who do you think would put up more of a fight about you replacing them?
Well,
Or would you go post Keith?
well, they're all.
Play
I
with,
mean, that's
yeah.
the thing is
Yeah.
that the bass and the drummer are dead in that
Yeah,
band,
yeah,
so
yeah,
there's
true.
no fight
You're
to put
good
up.
to
Yeah, that's
roll.
true.
I'm there.
There you go. Loophole.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, what is a song that you did not write that you wish you would have written? So something
There's
that somebody else
so many.
wrote.
So many.
Going Out West by Tom Waits.
That's a very good one.
I mean, we have so much respect for him in general. So like we do a bunch of cover songs. But if you really want to know a band that we absolutely love, it's a song we'll never cover, and that's a song like we can never do that justice. But it's so in our wheelhouse of like our aesthetic. But it's Tom Waits. It's so much Tom Waits that no one could do it. There's no other way to sing it. Other bands have covered it. They do it terribly. You just got to be a grizzled old 60-year-old man. Smoke cigarettes his whole life.
Yeah. Yeah, but that is kind of the general rule with like some of the cover songs that we've done, is just to sometimes you don't want to know how it's made, right? Like you don't want to know it inside and out, because then it takes away some of the magic of it. So yeah, agreed on that.
Am I supposed to answer something?
I don't know. I mean, I'm okay with that as a band answer.
All right. So Kiss played to a bay full of sharks, and Metallica played in Antarctica. What non-standard venue would you guys like to perform at?
So
Joe.
we already talked about this one. So for those who are not in Pittsburgh, there's an abandoned blast furnace called the Kerry Furnace that's actually open for tours, and it's been preserved. And it's this industrial landscape, and they actually have shows there. And just we haven't played there, but if we had the chance, I would do it in a second. I'd play in a real blast furnace in a second with all the hot iron around you and all that, wearing wooden shoes and an astronaut suit. That'd be pretty. That would literally be metal.
Yeah.
Very metal.
So
Very metal.
yeah, I'm
At
gonna
the
go.
end of Terminator.
Yeah, exactly. I want to play the end of Terminator 2. That's where I want to play.
Just like everything is great. There's just lava dripping everywhere.
And at
for
the
some
end, we
reason.
just drop down.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
night. No encores because we've vaporized.
I think it'd be a fitting venue though in general, because there are bands that are like desert rock, or kind of bring to mind a certain geography, and I think that our music does have a certain amount of like, this is distinctly Pittsburgh, rainy, nature taking over,
In the middle of
industry,
Appalachia, but
and-
industry, yeah.
yeah, like plants are trying to reclaim the blast furnace.
Oh, exactly.
You
You're
know?
not allowed to do anything with the plants there because they are literally reclaiming the land. So it would
Or
be
like the Westinghouse Atom Smasher.
Yes.
Another-
Yeah.
It's another nature reclaiming
Yep.
some stuff, or Centralia.
I was about to say we should
Yeah.
do Centralia
Yeah,
because
just go
we
find
have
one of
a
those
song.
wicked split open roads in
Yeah.
Centralia. It's on fire.
Cook some eggs on the pavement.
For your
Yeah,
for your viewers slash listeners that don't know, Centralia is a town.
There's a fire under it.
It's a town that has been on fire for like 50 something years.
Underground.
We wrote a song about it called Hunger. We did a whole record about stuff about man-made disasters
in Pennsylvania.
It was the hubris of man in the 80s where the 50s rather, where I think they burned trash in their dump, and there's
Very
a giant
close to an opening.
and there's a giant coal mine under the entire town, and it
Lit
somehow
the whole seam on fire.
Somehow they lit the coal underground under fire, and so now it's eminent domain. Although apparently like 12 people still live there. It's a very
I think so.
Hills Have Eyes vibe to the place. So
So for the record, this is the second show that Kat has hung out with us.
Yeah.
And I'm really starting to like her being
Nice.
here. She says don't wear flip-flops
Yeah.
to Centralia.
Yeah, no, that's a good tip.
She also has a question for you guys, so I'm gonna ask it. What was the first song you guys played together that showed the chemistry in the band?
ooh.
If I can jump in real quick.
Oh, sure.
Because now, Maura, you weren't there for this. This is the first time I played with Ben.
Okay.
So for that Queen show that we were preparing for, Ben came over to my house for the first time. Known him for years, never played together. And so, well, let's start with, because Queen did like a fast version of We Will Rock You. And we sat down and played it. And between the two of us for the first time, we got all the stops right, all of like the weird little accents straight on. And I was like, I like playing with this guy.
Yeah.
And really, and then once Maura came in, because Maura was Freddie. Maura, like, just you sing and play bass in action camp, and for that you were singing and in character as Freddie, and that was so. Once that all started to come together, I after, like right before that show, I told Ben, I said, if you all would like some drums on occasion in action camp, and that turned into why don't you just be in action camp? So that's my answer to that question.
Which, believe you me, as a duo for 10 years, we have been offered to have a drummer many, many times.
Yeah.
So high praise to Joe.
Joe was the first one to approach us the correct way.
I never said you all need a drummer.
Yeah, don't ever come to me and say you need a duo.
Don't do that.
You need a
Don't say
drummer.
we need a drummer. Yeah.
I just said
Do we, though?
if you ever want some drums, I'd like to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Some drums.
Yeah.
But no, I do all of them. So.
I think at least the super early, when it was just me and Maura back in Boston, I'm going to say probably You Got It by Roy Orbison, or maybe Love Is Blindness is the first cover we did, the U2 song. Because I think, because we worked in the coffee shop and we were just friends. And like the first day we wrote a song called Myth that I don't know that we've ever released. But we like wrote into Ableton Live and like recorded stuff because it was more like electronic. And I think the second thing we did was Love Is Blindness by U2.
Big Octune Baby fan.
Yeah. The very first show we ever played is up on YouTube somewhere. And it's like that. Like enjoy the silence.
You don't need to do
Enjoy
it.
the
You
Silence
don't
by
need to watch
Depeche Mode's a pretty early cover too.
it.
We were pretty universally gothy early on.
Yeah. Well, and I've
now I feel like that's a challenge. I feel like I now have to post that video on the show notes.
Yeah. It's somewhere. I don't know if I just don't remember
fine.
if it's listed or unlisted. Because like all of our shows are on YouTube, but a lot of them are just like our own private, like it's like a private archive that will send to people when we feel like it.
Yeah.
All right, before we get too much further into the show, do you want to introduce the song we're going to feature tonight and tell us a little bit about it? You can tell us about the writing process or something that's happened while you're playing it, or just, like MTV Storytellers. Although I don't know if you guys remember that show.
Of course.
Okay.
We were just talking about pop-up video the other day.
The early days of VH1
pop-up video.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or the Will Ferrell skill, the
Pop-up
Neil
video.
Diamond Storytellers.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not a behind the music. We're storytellers.
Yeah,
We're not a disaster as a band. So Anyway,
Can we go back? That's one of my goals. Can we be a disaster at some point?
I sell my soul to the devil to become a
to
disaster
become,
band.
so I could have a behind the music made about me.
someday that you're going to be interviewed and you're going to be like, can
Yeah.
you pinpoint the moment when it went
Yeah.
downhill? And you're going to say, well, there was this interview we did.
Yeah.
And
We
then I
bought a
sold my
van.
soul after getting a
Yeah.
van.
Yeah.
What a
Or
pair.
no, in order to get a van. So
Then we became a TikTok trend, and phew,
Yeah.
oh no. Okay, introducing song though. The song that we're going to listen to is Pythoness. Do you have any fun things about writing Pythoness?
Well, we wrote it. So for a couple of times, Maura had lived out in rural West Virginia, and we would go out there for like extended weekends and take all of our gear and set up in her house because there was nobody around, and we could go for as late as we wanted, as loud as we wanted. And Pythoness was like that was a big one that we wrote out there because that was one of those weekend songs that we
It
did.
needs to be played loud.
Yeah.
It was born loud.
I do remember that was one of the ones because I often just write a bunch of riffs and then they never hear like half of them, but I'll kind of work through them. I was like, well, these are the ones that I'm excited about, and that was one I played for them in the room. I was like, I don't know, maybe we can do something with this, and Maura was like enthusiastically like, yes, definitely that one.
Yeah.
And then you guys wrote the bass and drum part separately, didn't you? I feel like there was. I
No.
think it was pre that, right? I don't know.
We wrote it in the room, but yeah, you didn't have. Sometimes you have the beginnings of bass and drums, but we got to kind of start from scratch, which was nice.
Yeah.
What are the lyrics about, Maura?
Okay. Well,
I never know. I'm every time she does this, like I actually do ask because like we don't really discuss what the songs are about.
Well, if people follow our Instagram, there is a post about this one too, so they can read a much more eloquent put together version of what the song is about. But in brief, the song is really about like confronting. I was thinking about like my own becoming an anti-racist journey, and as a white person, there's lots of stumbling blocks and lots of hard lessons, and how like the song itself is really more about like you need to take those things and you need to build from that, and you need to listen to others and take that in and really move forward with that. So like the chorus has like tempted, leave it fallow, like so you're tempted to just say like forget it, like I'm not going to try to grow, I'm not going to try to put things into this, but instead like you should just keep pushing forward, keep like this is a worthy thing to keep striving for, and it's going to be it's a lifelong process. So yeah, that's kind of where it started. It has a lot of other layers and things in it as well, but that was kind of the beginning parts of writing the words. So
All right, so we're gonna take a moment. We're gonna listen to now that I've looked at it multiple times while we've been talking, I want to say Python, and I know that's not Pythoness.
Pythoness.
Yeah.
They were like seers, like psychics, lady psychics,
sort of like a witch, or opposite of a warlock is sort of.
No,
it's a female form of.
It's like it's female soothsayer kind of stuff. That's what Pythoness is. But yeah, looking towards the future again, growth, etc. So
okay, so we're gonna take a moment. We're gonna listen to that, and we'll be right back with Action Camp. Cool. For those of you watching the video, whether it's live or not so live, you don't actually get to hear it now because YouTube and Facebook would both smack me on the hand, and I don't like being smacked. So you have to wait until Friday to get the full version of the episode. It'll come out at 6 a.m. on buildascene.com. It will air for the first time on buildascene.com/radio at 8 p.m. And then I mentioned a whole bunch of radio stations at the beginning, and it airs on all those stations at various times. Some of them really early in the morning, some of them really early in the morning because they're actually during the day in Scotland. The times are all over the place.
Cool.
But that's right. Cat said they're not allowed to smack me.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Cat,
so
if
we're
you go to that link tree thing, it is the first link in there though. Our record's up on Bandcamp, so
that's
you
very-
could go listen to it before the episode.
so it's
If you
Definitely
so
a
desire,
box.
yeah.
Yes.
/ action camp.
Yes.
Buy a
And you-
record, please. No.
we're getting there. We're getting
Bye,
there.
Mara. The amount of times I've referenced that from The Critic when he wrote a book and they had the standee of him and it had audio. It goes, "Buy my book, buy my book." That's how I feel about selling our record, but it's necessary. We put a lot of time into it. So, go ahead. Sorry.
So you can also go to buildascene.com/radio and request action camp as well. So
Yay.
that's running 24/7, 365, and it's all unsigned and independent music, mostly from the Pittsburgh area, but all over the world. With that said, we're gonna come back as if we listened to it.
Cool.
Hey, that was Pythonus by Action Camp, who are hanging out with me tonight.
Hello.
So I feel like if they're watching the video, I probably don't have to mention that you guys are on a bit of a hiatus, but
Oh, you can explain.
Oh well, yeah. Maura's like super pregnant. We yeah. That's
I
partially.
love
For
how
your
nonchalant that was.
For your non-viewing audience.
yeah. No. So we spent a long time making this record, and then towards the end, we got very fortunate news that Maura is having her first child in the whole band, which is kind of crazy that we've made it 16 years without accidentally having a baby. not me and her. This has been. I know the way I talk about this. Not my child. She has a husband. Maura and I are not involved. It's a question
Never
we get-
have
Never
been.
have been.
People have
We've
wondered
been answering
if
that
we're,
question literally for
together
the entire
or
career.
siblings.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah.
I think all of that is before they spend any time with us. It is based entirely on just seeing us perform.
Yeah.
Take
And
it
it's-
from me. They are not. Yes.
Yeah, as soon as you actually hang out with us, they're like, "Oh, they are not romantic."
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, so we put out the record locally, and then it's on Bandcamp and as a physical CD, but it won't be streaming until October, a few days before the baby is due, and then in the spring we'll go on tour. Give or take. This is a free reign for Maura to decide when she wants to come back to the band and promote this record. But it's a very interesting process of like spending a ton of time on a record and then going on hiatus and then pushing the tour sort of back. But I mean, also like the pandemic stuff kind of taught us like, oh, that can just happen. Like we'll just stop being a band for a year and a half because
we all stayed in touch and
Yeah.
continued to I wouldn't say like actively work on action camp things, but keep the
Well,
camaraderie and some of the some little bits of writing here and there.
but just
so.
the industry in general. Like I work on records and run live sound too. So like touring really has only come back in the last solidly in the last couple of months. It's been a long time of bands booking tours, rescheduling, coming all the way up to the show. Then someone gets COVID at the show the day before, and then the whole show is canceled because the touring band's not here and the locals don't draw enough, et cetera,
Yeah.
et cetera. So
Yeah, it feels as though
so we figure
lots is changing in the industry.
aside
so.
from baby stuff, if we just wait till next spring, that's a good let's see what happens this winter, and then
Yeah.
venues will probably still be around next spring, and then we'll go get back to what we used to do.
And during the pandemic too, we safely made a video to sort of just keep things out there and to stay somewhat active. We were able to do a video apart, and then Ben edited everything together so it looked like we were together. So we figured out how to do that in a pretty stressful time for everybody. So there's still things that we can do in the meantime.
Yeah.
In terms of like when this comes out on Spotify, and then we can
Yeah.
do videos or
We'll
whatever.
probably do some videos. Or
Yeah.
something. Yeah. I mean, Joe and I have another band called Saint Dude that's kind of jokey, kind of not, a little bit heavier. Well, we just played a show for my birthday where we covered a bunch of Nirvana songs for fun, and we're doing that again for Halloween. So while Maura is on hiatus, the band is still technically just trucking on. We just found something else to do.
Other projects.
Other projects, because I'll go insane if I'm not doing something creative.
So I asked you guys a question that I've never asked before, and the one I'm about to ask, the very first band that I asked it to, it's now named after. It's called the Diesel Beast question.
Good
They're
name.
from Denton, Texas. They are a classic metal band.
Yeah.
Nice.
But the question was, if you could play anywhere in the world with anybody, who would you want to play with, and where would you play with? And it could be, again, we have a DeLorean, so you can pick anyone in history as well. Do you want me to tell you their answer, or do you want me to
Yeah.
wait?
I'm curious. Yeah.
All right, so they wanted to play at Stonehenge with Dio.
That's hard to
I
top.
feel like I would play at Stonehenge with Spinal Tap. Like
Well,
that's the move. Cover Stonehenge at Stonehenge,
Right.
but
right.
bring the 18-inch prop too. And the dwarves and the whole shebang. Do the full production of Stonehenge with not fictional Spinal Tap, like actually get like Harry Shearer and Mike and Christopher Guest. And do a full. I would do a full Spinal Tap show at Stonehenge with Spinal Tap. That'd be
Nice.
pretty legit. A big bottom with like 50 bass players.
I
around
don't know that we can
Stonehenge.
top this particular answer. I think that
I would bring to that show. I would bring Fair Warning era Van Halen to that. To open it.
To open
For that. Eddie,
Yeah.
young and with the guitar, and with David Lee Roth, everybody's getting along at Stonehenge, and then opening for Spinal Tap. I might bring Anvil too, just to make it funny.
We watched that documentary. I think Maura and I watched that together.
Which one?
The Story of Anvil.
Oh, yeah.
Anvil's like, they're another band that's a duo. They're like metal, but they're like metal. They're Canadian, and they kind of like never totally got going, but are contemporaries of some like 80s metal bands. But they like kind of got back, or they kind of kept going, and they have this really disastrous like European tour in like the early 2000s. But then you watch the documentary, and it's like, oh, these two guys are so dysfunctional, and they just constantly shoot themselves in the foot. Even with that documentary coming out, like they put out a new record, and then they were just selling it like by themselves as a physical CD on their website. And this is in like 2015. Like, guys, you gotta like, get it together. But like, it was mostly just depressing. It was like watching another duo, like, because Maura and I were a duo forever, and we're like fairly functional as a band. It's like, man, this could have went so much further south. Like these guys, and they're like older. They're older than us too. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I also would watch Anvil live, and that one band, Complete. There's that weird, like, it's like spelled some weird way. There's a video. It's a video on YouTube. If you search for the band Complete, what's this like one-off like local TV thing where they play in some bar in Texas, and the songs are amazing. The guitar player's name is Sparky. The singer is just a superstar. That band, I would totally want to actually see.
One more of my type of questions, and then two more cliche ones, and we'll call it a night.
Cool.
Okay. What is something that has happened while you guys are on stage that was embarrassing? Now, there is a caveat here. You cannot tell me something you did that was embarrassing. You have to tell me something that one of the other people in the band did that was embarrassing to you.
Oh. I feel like you're trying to create dysfunction now.
This is up there with what I've always joked, like, what's the worst thing you can say to a band when they walk off stage? So you go, well, at least one of you can play. Because if there's any fissure in a band, you just ripped it wide open.
The guitarist is always going to assume it's them.
Yeah,
that's just
everyone
given.
assumes it's them.
Wow.
But in all honesty, I don't. At least in this band, I don't know that I'm embarrassed for anything we do. I think we're pretty strong-headed. We're pretty confident in what we do. I've done some supremely dumb stuff on stage, but
Yeah, I think Ben has injured himself a few times.
Yeah.
Misjudging.
But embarrassment is the wrong thing. I kicked a photographer in the face.
I was just thinking about that. I was like,
I think that's the
don't
only.
know. I don't know if I was
At a house.
embarrassed
Yeah, it
per
was
se,
more.
but it was
Yeah,
it was uncomfortable.
it was uncomfortable. Yes.
It was.
If
It's
you-
not worth rehashing the whole thing. I don't want to rehash the whole thing.
There may or may not be. You might be able to find that story out there somewhere.
Yeah,
As-
no, it exists as a blog post.
As a photographer, I've never thought about that. Now I'm
Well,
going to be going
well,
to shows.
my
Going,
defense-
is this guy going to kick
the
me?
short version of
I
this.
don't get to tell it.
Well, because he asked for other
did.
people to talk about the experience.
Let's see how you saw how it went down.
No, I didn't see it go down. I believe you because I'm your friend. But I mean,
So
again,
the
the
blog
very
post
short,
tells a different story.
very short version of this is just that, like, as a photographer, maybe don't put yourself and your camera completely over all of the equipment that a musician needs to be using in that moment to play their instrument. Do not put your body and equipment over people's pedals.
Yeah.
And like insert yourself into the performance itself. It's not a good look.
No.
Um
I also came out of Boston hardcore, and I have a real territorial, this is my dance space kind of thing. So I don't like people in our stage area when we're playing. And this particular night, this individual was pretty annoying and did actually disrupt the performance. And it wasn't, you weren't mad at me that I kicked him. You were mad at me that I addressed it on the microphone after the fact because it messed up the flow of the set. I could have just gotten away with kicking him in the face and
Move on.
Move on. Kind of, nothing happened. But I yelled at him on the microphone as well.
Yeah. Joe, have we done
Yeah.
terrible things in front
No,
of you?
I'm no,
This
not on
interview.
stage where it
Oh.
matters. No.
Oh no.
No, I've been in other bands where I've definitely scout. When I'm playing guitar in another band, and I scowl at the drummer and make things real weird for everybody.
Yeah.
That's never
Mm.
happened in this band. Because I'm still, I'm always the new guy, so I don't want to make them mad. You see, so I show up ready to go, and I never play anything wrong, so I'm never embarrassed. No, that's not true at all. That isn't true. No. Actually, at the release show, my drum set, because we did a kit share, everybody shared my kit, and I got up, and some things were terribly, terribly out of order as we were trying to get set up. And I was getting really frustrated because, it's our release show and it's like the moment and my stuff. Have I cussed yet? Oh,
No.
Okay. I haven't cussed. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to. Anyway, I was really getting flustered and frustrated and angry. And Ben, you were very nice about it. You were like, hey, we have all the time we need. Just be cool.
We're the headliners.
We're the headliners.
Yeah.
And I was
We
like,
take
yeah.
our time.
But yeah, but again, it was an equipment thing. Something happened with my gear that I had to basically dismantle it in 2 seconds and set it back up the way it was supposed to be. And I was worried that I embarrassed them, but I guess I didn't. So it's all good.
Maura and I rule this band with an iron fist. No, in the dynamics of this band, Maura and I we're all strong personalities, but Maura and I can both be fairly stubborn, and there's an energy just from us being a duo here that Joe is equally part of, but I think he tends to steer clear of it sometimes and just lets us go.
I go home and write songs for my own.
Yeah, and I think we can intimidate him unintentionally sometimes.
Yes.
but
Joe,
it's
you're a
just
part of all of
yeah.
this.
He's
Okay,
like-
this is turning into therapy.
Yeah.
I would like to know what the next cliche question is.
yes.
So these two, I promise, are probably the easiest two of the night.
Okay.
The first one is, and we kind of touched on it already, but what's up next for Action Camp?
Nothing. No.
This is it.
So we just released our first full length album in quite some time, Cusp, and it is currently available on Bandcamp. Just to reiterate, so you can check it out there, and it will be available on streaming all, many streaming platforms come the end of October. And yes, we've covered this a few different ways. Ben and Joe will be working on various projects in the fall and winter. I will be meeting and raising a new human being. And then come the spring sometime, we will be getting back together so that we can bring Cusp out live.
Yeah.
So.
Starting tomorrow morning, in all earnestness, I'm waking up and starting to send like 1,000 emails to reviewers and everything else. Like I had a little buffer between the release show and now I had some other work and stuff, but now it's the most tedious thing of being in a band. If it's not all just playing shows and hanging out, like not booking, and it's very similar to booking a tour, but like sending the record to, because you have to get the reviews in before it comes out on streaming, because then they do not care. So if any of your listeners, anyone's watching wants to review the record, by all means, we'll send you a link, shoot us an email or whatever. But we'll
give you lots of stellar answers to your interview questions.
I'll probably email you first, because I have a very long list of stuff to burn through tomorrow. So Action Camp becomes an office job for 6 months. Is what's happening.
Do you have First Angel Media on your list?
I don't think I do.
Okay, well
now it is.
Yeah,
now it is.
I'm going to point above you guys in the video.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Right. I happen to be the vice president over there, so you should put us on the list.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a share, and it'll help you out. It's like a shared list we have with a few other bands that in the background of these 21st century being DIY bands, all of us use Dropbox and all of us use like Google Drive and stuff, and share. Like, here's a list of venues with contacts. Here's a list. Like, it's real nerdy stuff. For us being like pretty much underachievers in school, I do so much. Like,
speak for yourself.
Yeah. Well, but we're real overachievers when it comes to being organized in the background. And it's a lot of office documents and keeping track of all that stuff.
And our whole record was mixed through Dropbox.
Yeah,
he would just drop them in there. We'd save it there.
Something like I've covered that there's podcasts that build the scene, and that there's a radio station there, but I also have a list of venues and a list of bands and a tip section and all kinds of stuff. The site, the content that's on Build the Scene, some of it can be traced back all the way to 2004. So
crazy.
Check it out.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Hey, last question, kind of an easy one because it's been on the screen the whole time. But how can people find you guys online?
Well, according to the screen, there's if you search Action Camp, we have fantastic SEO.
Action Camp Band.
Yeah,
because otherwise you'll come upon a lot of different summer camps.
Yeah, there's like
high ropes courses.
Yeah, there's like a BMXing camp that's not too far from here.
It's not us.
But our name is spelled ACTIONCAMP. That's a thing we've been doing for a long time.
The BMX course should be our unconventional venue. That's where we should play.
Yeah.
But if you go to Linktree/Action Camp, you'll see a lot of our various web presences.
Yeah. We also have a real website.
But we also do have a main website.
Action-camp.com.
Mm-hmm.
I made that. I was a web designer in a former life.
And we are on the social medias.
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me on 637.
Yeah. Thanks for having us, man.
You're welcome. All right, so what's going to happen next is you're going to hear some more of the best unsigned rock and metal that Pennsylvania has to offer. And then you'll hear from John American Hill Jack Lane, who's going to tell you how to leave comments and all that kind of stuff, how to subscribe. When you hear that, that means this show is over. However, that doesn't mean you should leave the station you're listening to, because they've been playing unsigned music, and you never know, you might find your next favorite unsigned and independent artist. Also, if you want to check out this show, there's a new one released every Friday at 6 a.m. on buildascene.com. I mentioned Friendly Fire earlier. That's once a month on xrpradio.co.uk. There is no set day. It's a Saturday. That's all I can tell you. And then 3 Questions and a Song is the other podcast that I host. That one is on the 1st and 15th of the month. That is any genre, any band from anywhere. So, and it's not really 3 questions. It started out as that. Now it's like 30. But with that said, I'm going to head out into the night and see you on episode number 638.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.